In Korea, guys and girls wear baseball caps way more often than in the UK. Obviously, baseball is a big American thing. So is that a thing that many people wear? I'm often surprised to see people wearing baseball caps in many situations here, like going to the club as well. In the UK, many places not allowed to wear a cap.
Is it a cool, like I'm not cool. Is it a cool thing or is it
I don't know. Like in the UK, we have this thing. Have you heard the term a chav?
No.
Chav is like someone who's a teenager or maybe early 20s, a troublemaker.
Oh, okay.
And they're usually from a poor socioeconomic background and they're on the streets and they maybe just pick a fight with people, that kind of person.
A chav.
You never see those people in Korea, right? Chavs.
Yeah, no, the when you take those standard comparisons and you see a quote-unquote chav on the street, it's like a really nice guy who has lots of tattoos.
Yes.
Like he might look the part, but like no one with like hardcore tattoos or a rocker look is actually ready to pick a fight.
Yeah, you
That's
never
the only
feel
time.
scared, right?
No.
And so most chavs wear baseball caps. So when I came to Korea in 2008, I was like, oh my goodness, is everyone like horrible in a chav here?
No, I think a lot of them are just like, I didn't do my hair this morning for the guys and the girls too.
And sometimes they'll wear it with like fairly smart clothes as well. But you're right, for the most part, people are dressed more smart here in Seoul, definitely. Like in the UK, you'll see many people, those chavs that I'm referring to, in like tracksuit bottoms and like a training top and trainers. But yeah, Korea makes you feel like you need to be on point when you come out the door.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. Like, I think it's also a Seoul city thing too, because even when I come back from, let's say, I don't know, Gangneung in the East Coast, or even from Busan to an extent, and you arrive back at the train station, you're like, I mean, everyone's pretty all of a sudden. Like, it's not like they're not pretty, but I mean, dressed up with makeup and ready for that job interview.
You can tell you're in Seoul.
Yeah, and even that's a good feeling for me now. I'm not a city person, but it's just kind of like, I'm home. I'm home.
It's true.
I still like that kind of vibe of the countryside. Like, Gangneung kind of has it. Busan has it in areas, but like, or you go to Jeonju or something.
Yeah.
And you get that slower vibe.
Yes.
That's where you can get that nostalgia you're talking about. I like that.
Yeah, you're right. When I go to some of those cities outside of Seoul, Jeonju's a good example, there aren't many skyscrapers. Like, I was driving through Seoul the other day, and it was near this big apartment complex near the express bus terminal, which is one of the most expensive places to live in Seoul. And I was really depressed because I was driving. It was a really sunny day, but because the apartments are so tall and there's almost like a wall of them, the street itself is so dark, like in the shade. And there's many parts of Seoul where there are such high buildings, like Taedong is one of them. It rarely gets sunny unless the sun is directly above that strip.
Right.
Otherwise, there's so much shade from buildings, which you're talking are easily 30, 40 stories. So yeah, when I go to places like Jeonju, and it's just like 1 or 2 story buildings, and a lot of the signs are older, and there's still the independent mum and pop stores. I love that. Yeah.
I think, you hit a good point, because you're from a place that doesn't have massive skyscrapers, generally speaking, and
London's
I'm not either. Definitely not Columbus, Ohio. We feel a lot more open. Like I think it's claustrophobia being in a city. Like when you look to the left and the right and the front and the back, you just see a building. Yeah. Like that's all you see.
Glass towers.
But if you're in if you're in Ohio, we make fun of fields, but there's like an openness that doesn't block your mind from being like, I'm trapped in a city.
Sure.
It's something different.
Yeah.
And I think Gangneung has that to an extent. Busan, if you're on the beach.
Yeah.
Jeju, you can see miles around if you're on the mountain. And Seoul is you have to get out of Seoul. That's why COVID's been so hard.
Yeah. I mean, Seoul has the Han River. I suppose that's the kind
best
of
spot.
escape.
You either do Han River or you do Gwanaksan or Bukhansan. Because then you can look down on everything.
Go up a mountain and look down at the commoners.
The plebeians or whatever they call them here.
Absolutely.
The loyal subjects.
Yeah, I do think that might be, this is my theory, a new theory. Maybe a paper can be written on this. Soulites are okay with all the skyscrapers because Korea is mountainous. Mind blown. What a theory.
That could work. It's symbolic. It almost like it just kind of blends in with the natural environment around us.
Exactly. They're just human mountains. It's probably not at all correct.
No, we are just making up Korean history. Someone's going to write a paper on it and according to the Barely Functioning Adults podcast, you shouldn't do that.
You should never quote this podcast in any educational material, unless you're debunking it.
We need to explain where they went wrong.